One of my all-time favorite stories to tell is the story of how my parents named me. I was the firstborn child in my family, and my parents spent months going back and forth about names before I was born. My mom seemed to have endless suggestions, but my dad just couldn't commit to one. Finally, my mom suggested the name Annaka, and my dad agreed, no hesitation. And shortly after I was born, my parents were calling all of our family members, and it wasn't until my mom called my aunt, my dad's sister, that she realized why my dad had agreed so quickly. She told her Annaka Hansen was my name, and my aunt said, "Duh, that's 7 of 9 from Star Trek." And the reference is pretty obscure, but that's just a testament to how truly nerdy my dad was. 7 of 9 was an ex-Borg member, meaning she was part human, part robot. But in the show, she usually used her Borg designation, which was 7 of 9. But there were a handful of show episodes that referenced her real full name as a human, which was Annaka Hansen. This story was the beginning of me falling in love with science. In this video, I'm going to talk about what other things led to me thinking I would pursue a STEM career, and also what factors led to me leaving the field. Star Trek was really the beginning of my love for science. My family bonded over the show, and we were all serious nerds about it. We even went so far as to attend Star Trek conventions in Las Vegas. But Star Trek just feels different from other sci-fi works. It was more science than drama, and it portrayed a future that I wanted to be a part of. I hoped that one day I could explore the universe like the crew of the Enterprise did. There were times when it was borderline comical how much they pushed the science, and Star Trek is known for its senseless technobabble, in which the cast makes up science-y words to explain their situations.
It just occurred to me that I could set up a frequency harmonic between the deflector and the shield grid using the warp field generator as a power flow anti-attenuator, and that, of course, naturally created an amplification of the inherent energy output.
I see that.
My favorite character, of course, was my namesake, 7 of 9. She was always hyper-focused on her work duties because she had forgotten what it was like to be human after so long spent with the Borg.
7. Annaka. That's what I'm called here.
I found out that she was an astrophysicist, and I jumped at the opportunity to turn this job title into my own. In high school, I began taking advanced math and science classes, and I even dual enrolled in my local community college to take some astronomy classes and more advanced math classes that my high school didn't offer. All of a sudden, it felt like I could make this a reality. I went to a few astronomy camps over the summers, but the biggest opportunity came along when I was accepted into the summer science program in astrophysics at the University of Colorado in Boulder. I attended this program between my junior and senior year of high school. It was an intensive research experience that lasted nearly 2 months, in which we observed some asteroids and used orbital mechanics to determine their paths through our solar system. And if you've seen the new Netflix movie, Don't Look Up, the work that I did was actually really similar, except that we were studying already discovered asteroids instead of looking for newer ones. Here's a scene from the beginning of the movie where Jennifer Lawrence first discovers the asteroid. And then here is a short video from my experience in my summer research program.
Well, we have to do it like the astrometry and photometry, but I don't think this is like the best video.
And while I recognized that this was a really amazing opportunity and I was doing some really good work, this was also the first place that I really felt imposter syndrome. I had never taken a physics class in my time in high school, and yet there I was at an astrophysics camp doing some really serious work with a lot of really smart people. And I really just felt like I didn't belong there. Like, there was one day that the professors had pulled me out of class to ask me how I was doing, and they mentioned that my homework assignments weren't up to their standards, and that really just solidified that feeling for me. And I just felt like I wasn't as smart as the other kids that were there. But anyways, I did still get a lot of valuable research experience out of it. I also learned how to code in Python. I made a really long, orbital mechanics program that would help me determine the orbital elements of the asteroid I was studying. And we even published our work at the end of the program. And so I went back to high school feeling smarter, but still like I wasn't good enough. Then in my senior year of high school, I decided to sign up for a programming class that my school was offering. And I wanted to go in and, show off the work that I had done over the summer. And I showed that teacher the program that I had written. It was probably 400 lines of codes long. And when I showed it to my teacher, he just kind of brushed it off and said something along the lines of, yeah, that was probably a really guided experience. I'm sure they really helped you out with that. And it just felt like he didn't think I could have written the code on my own. And I was just starting to accept that I had done all that serious work. I had learned so much over the summer, and it just made me feel so inadequate. It felt a little bit sexist even to me. But in the end, I still stuck with it because at this point in time, I was already applying to colleges. I had been accepted at MSU, and it was kind of the only thing I had any interest in, anything I wanted to actually pursue in the future. And so I went to MSU with all plans of majoring in astrophysics. So when I started at MSU, I was part of the College of Lyman Briggs, where I planned on majoring in astrophysics. So I started out taking, your basic chemistry, physics, all of the requirements for my major. And I just felt really dumb in my classes. All of the people around me were super smart. Every time I got a bad grade, it felt like the end. And I was already feeling like I maybe just wasn't cut out for STEM. All of the things leading up to that point in time were discouraging, to say the least. And while I had a serious interest in astronomy and I found it fun and exciting, I just felt like at that point it wasn't for me anymore. And then COVID happened and all of our classes got put online, and I just struggled even more. And eventually it was a math class that made me change my major. And I recognized that college is a great time to pursue your passions, to change your mind, but I was already 2.5 years into my astrophysics major, and it felt like I was dropping a lot, but at the same time, it lifted a huge weight off my shoulders. And I ended up turning to a writing program. I'm now a professional and public writing major. And sometimes I miss studying astronomy. One thing I do miss is the look on people's faces when I would tell them I'm an astrophysics major. They just always seemed so impressed. But at the same time, I didn't feel impressed in myself, if that makes sense. I didn't think I was good enough. And now in my new major, things just feel so much better. I feel so much lighter. I honestly feel like I have so much more free time, not having to worry about all my STEM classes and having homework every day of the week. I've even started baking bread. I've started reading dozens of books this semester alone. I feel so much happier and lighter, and part of it was that the STEM field is just so incredibly competitive. In the end, though, I do think the biggest factor in my leaving STEM was probably the imposter syndrome, and it's actually such a huge problem for a lot of people in the STEM field, especially young women, and I think it is just such a more common problem than a lot of people realize. My best friend, for example, was also once an astrophysics major, and she just last semester changed her major for a lot of the same reasons as I did. I just think it's important that high schools and universities acknowledge this issue and do everything they can to encourage minority groups or young women to pursue STEM and give them all the opportunities they need to succeed. I do think that part of me will always wonder what it would have taken for me to have stuck with STEM. At the same time, I'm happy that I've left it. I've found something that I truly love and feel passionate about. But sometimes I wonder, maybe if COVID hadn't happened, maybe if I had more support, I don't know if I would still be in it. Thanks for watching. My name's Annaka Hansen. This is Oreo, and this project was filmed for my WRA 325 class. Ma'am. Oh, I'm trying to do homework. You're not being helpful. This isn't your video.